Chapter 1. When Dreams Begin. The world wasn't silent. It was filled with whispers. They echoed in the depths of the night, in the gaps between waking and sleep, where shadows stretched long and memories blurred. For Jinwoo, those whispers had always been louder than for others. He sat in his cramped apartment, the walls cracked from age, the dim light of a single bulb casting a pale yellow glow. Outside, the rain fell in heavy sheets, drumming against the window like an impatient hand knocking on a door. Jinwoo's hands trembled slightly as he held his pencil, sketching the shapes from his latest nightmare. The images poured out onto the page. A towering tree with roots coiled like serpents, a figure with no face but 100 eyes, and a path made of broken stars. He didn't understand them, but the images haunted him. Ever since he was a child, he dreamed of impossible landscapes and terrifying creatures. But these weren't ordinary dreams. They bled into reality. Jinwoo sighed and leaned back. The clock read 2:13 a.m. and his head ached. Tomorrow, no, today was the anniversary. 12 years since his parents disappeared without a trace, leaving him in this decaying apartment with nothing but a sealed letter and a warning never to open it until he was ready. He glanced at the sealed envelope on the bookshelf, yellowed with age, untouched. "I'm not ready," he whispered, as though saying it aloud would make it true. The shadows in the corners of his room seemed to shift slightly. He blinked and rubbed his eyes. Maybe it was just the lack of sleep, or maybe it was something else. Suddenly, a loud knock echoed through the apartment. Jinwoo froze. No one ever knocked on his door at this hour. He waited, heart pounding. Another knock, louder this time. Hesitantly, he rose, crossing the creaking floorboards to the door. "Who is it?" he asked, his voice barely audible over the rain. No answer. Cautiously, he unlatched the lock and opened the door just a crack. A girl stood there, drenched from the rain, her long black hair plastered to her face, her clothes clinging to her slender frame. Her eyes, bright silver, locked onto his, and for a moment, Jinwoo felt like he was falling into a bottomless well. "Jinwoo, she said, her voice like the first notes of a song. "They're coming for you." Before he could react, she collapsed against him, her body cold and trembling. He caught her instinctively, pulling her inside. "Wait, who are you?" "What do you mean?" he demanded, closing the door and bolting it. The girl's lips moved, but no words came. She was slipping into unconsciousness. Jinwoo cursed under his breath and carried her to the threadbare couch, covering her with an old blanket. Thunder rumbled outside, and a sudden gust of wind made the window rattle violently. As Jinwoo turned back the door, he felt it. A presence, cold and suffocating, like 1,000 invisible hands pressing against the walls. The shadows thickened, coiling like smoke, and the door shuddered as though something was pushing from the other side. His pulse raced. Without thinking, he grabbed the sealed letter from the shelf. The girl stirred, her eyes fluttering open. "Don't open it," she said weakly. Jinwoo hesitated. The pressure outside was building, and the door splintered slightly under an invisible force. "Who are they?" he demanded. "Dreambound society," she whispered. "They know you're the last Dreamweaver. They're coming to silence you before you awaken your power." "Dreamweaver?" Jinwoo's voice cracked. "What are you talking about?" The girl sat up, her hand glowing faintly with silver light. With a swift gesture, she drew a sigil in the air, and the pressure eased slightly. The shadows outside hissed and retreated, but not for long. "I'll explain later," she said. "Right now, we need to run." Jinwoo stared at her, torn between 1,000 questions and the rising dread in his chest. Outside, the shadows roiled like a storm, and he could hear faint whispers. His name, over and over again. With trembling hands, he helped the girl to her feet. "Jinwoo, listen carefully," she said, her silver eyes narrowing. "You're not just a dreamer. You're the last one who can control the fabric of dreams, the boundary between what's real and what's imagined. If they get to you before you awaken your power, they'll erase you and everything you've ever been." A loud crash shook the building. The shadows seeped through the cracks in the door like black smoke, forming into shapes, twisted, monstrous forms with gaping maws and grasping claws. "Move," the girl shouted, grabbing his hand. They bolted down the narrow hallway, the shadows chasing them like a living nightmare. As they ran, the walls around them warped, shifting into corridors Jinwoo didn't recognize. He felt his stomach twist, his vision blur. Were they still in his apartment? Or had they crossed into the dream realm? The girl skidded to a stop before a shimmering doorway etched with glowing symbols. She pressed her hand against it, and it opened like a curtain of light. "This way," she urged. Jinwoo hesitated, his breath ragged. Behind them, the shadow creatures surged forward, their inhuman mouths open in silent screams. "Trust me," she said, her voice steady. Jinwoo nodded. Together, they leapt through the doorway, and Chapter 1 continued, When Dreams Begin. Jinwoo tumbled through a kaleidoscope of shifting light, his body weightless and his mind disoriented. Colors bled into one another. Blues melted into greens, golds twisted into violets, stars danced like fireflies, and for a moment he felt as though he were nothing more than a thought, a whisper in a universe of dreams. Then, with a jarring snap, he landed hard on a surface that felt like glass but rippled beneath his weight. He gasped, pushing himself up, wincing at the throbbing in his head. The girl landed beside him with more grace, barely making a sound as she rose to her feet. Around them stretched an endless plain of shimmering mist, with fractured pathways twisting upward into the sky like ribbons of silk. The ground beneath them was translucent, revealing swirling constellations that shifted with every step. Jinwoo staggered to his feet. Where are we?" he asked, his voice echoing unnaturally. "The threshold," the girl said softly, her silver eyes scanning the horizon. "This is the space between dreams and reality, the only place safe from the dreambound society for now." Jinwoo turned in a slow circle, taking in the impossible landscape. Islands of floating rock drifted lazily above them, each one anchored by chains of light. Some bore towering trees with leaves of crystal, others were adorned with crumbling statues of forgotten gods. Overhead, a fractured moon hung in a sky that bled indigo and silver. His heart pounded, part in fear, part in wonder. "I'm dreaming," he whispered. The girl shook her head. "No, this is more real than your waking world. It's the foundation of all dreams, the canvas upon which everything is painted. And you, Jinwoo, are one of the few who can navigate it." Jinwoo's breath caught in his throat. He tried to process her words, but they slipped through his mind like sand through his fingers. "But why me? I don't understand any of this. My parents, they disappeared. My dreams, they're just nightmares." She stepped closer, her expression serious. "Your parents were Dreamweavers too, the last true ones. They sealed your abilities when you were a child to protect you from the society. But something has changed. The boundaries are breaking down, and you're beginning to remember fragments of your true self. That's why the society is after you. You're the last threat to their control." Jinwoo's pulse raced. His mouth felt dry, and his mind reeled with questions. "Who are you?" "My name is Arya," she said softly. "I was sent to find you, to keep you safe, to help you unlock your power before they do." A distant howl echoed across the threshold, low and resonant, making the air shiver. Arya's head snapped up, her silver eyes narrowing. "They've breached the edge," she said grimly. "The Shadowhounds are here." Jinwoo turned, seeing shapes moving in the mist. They were massive, their forms indistinct, each one a writhing mass of tendrils and claws, with gaping mouths lined with teeth made of shattered glass. Arya reached into her coat and pulled out a fragment of crystal, pulsing with a soft light. With a fluid motion, she shattered it against her palm, and a blade of light formed, humming softly. "Stay behind me," she commanded. Jinwoo's instincts screamed at him to run, but there was nowhere to go. The mist twisted, and the Shadowhounds emerged, surrounding them with slow, predatory steps. Their movements were soundless, their gazes fixed on Jinwoo as though he were the only thing in existence. Arya's blade flared brighter, casting long shadows. The nearest hound lunged, and she met it with a swift strike, cutting through its form like paper. It dissolved into smoke and shards of light. But more followed, faster this time. Jinwoo felt a sudden pull in his chest, a sensation like a heartbeat echoing in reverse, a deep ache he couldn't explain. His vision shimmered, and for a moment he saw something beneath the threshold. A network of lines, glowing softly, connecting everything. Paths of dreamlight threading through the air. As the hounds closed in, something inside him snapped. "No!" he shouted, thrusting his hands forward. A burst of raw energy erupted from his palms, forming a shield of shifting colors, blues, purples, golds. The Shadowhounds recoiled, snarling, as the shield expanded, forcing them back. Arya turned, her expression one of both surprise and relief. "You're awakening," she murmured. Jinwoo gasped, the power coursing through him like liquid fire. It was wild, barely controlled, but it responded to his will. The lines he had glimpsed beneath reality solidified, converging into a sigil beneath his feet, a symbol ancient and powerful. The Shadowhounds howled and scattered, fading into the mist. Silence settled over the threshold, broken only by Jinwoo's ragged breathing. Arya approached him cautiously. "That was your first weaving. Crude, but strong. You're beginning to remember." Jinwoo collapsed to his knees, exhausted. "I don't understand any of this," he whispered. "You will," Arya said softly. She knelt beside him, her voice gentle. "You've stepped into a war, Jinwoo, one between those who dream freely and those who would shackle us all. The dream-bound society has kept the world asleep for too long. You're the key to waking it up." He looked up at her, his thoughts a whirlwind. "What happens now?" Arya's silver eyes glinted in the dim light. Chapter 2. Threads of the Forgotten. The threshold shimmered around them, the ground pulsing faintly beneath Jinwoo's trembling hands. He felt drained, as if every ounce of strength had been siphoned out of his bones. His breathing was ragged, his mind a whirlpool of questions he couldn't voice. Arya stood, her blade of light dissipating into soft motes that floated upward, fading into the mists. She extended her hand to him. "Come on," she said quietly. "We can't stay here." Jinwoo hesitated, looking around the shifting landscape. The floating islands above were moving now, drifting apart like pieces of a puzzle falling away from the table. The constellations beneath his feet were fading, the stars winking out one by one. The threshold was collapsing. He grasped Arya's hand. As soon as their fingers touched, the world tilted, the sensation of falling returning. But this time, it was different. It wasn't the uncontrolled plummet of before. It was guided, like being pulled along a thread. The stars spun, the mists thickened, and the world folded inward. When Jinwoo's feet touched solid ground again, he gasped. They were standing in a place unlike any he had ever seen, a grand hall, vast and echoing, with walls of polished obsidian shot through with veins of silver. The floor was smooth as glass, reflecting a sky that wasn't there. Floating orbs of soft blue light hung suspended from invisible chains, illuminating the space. In the distance, massive doors stood closed, each carved with intricate symbols, some of which Jinwoo recognized from his dreams, though he had no idea what they meant. Arya let go of his hand, stepping forward. Her voice was hushed. "This is the Sanctuary of Lost Threads, a remnant of the old world, hidden between layers of reality. Only Dreamweavers can reach it. It's where the last secrets are kept, and where we can regroup before the next move." Jinwoo's legs gave out, and he sank to the floor. His thoughts were a tangled web. "I don't understand. What was that thing back there? Why do they want me? What is a Dreamweaver?" Arya turned back to him, her face softened with an emotion he couldn't quite place. Regret, perhaps, or sympathy. She sat cross-legged before him. "In the old days, before the dream-bound society took control, there were those who could walk the boundary between dreams and reality," she began. "They were the Dreamweavers. People who could shape dreams, heal minds, and sometimes even bring pieces of dreams into the waking world. They were protectors, artists, and warriors. Your parents were two of the greatest among them." Jinwoo's throat tightened. "My parents? They were Dreamweavers?" Arya nodded. "When the society began rising, they saw Dreamweavers as threats, too unpredictable, too dangerous. They began hunting them down, one by one. Your parents realized they were next. They sealed your abilities and disappeared into the deeper layers of the dreamscape to hide you." He felt cold all over. His memories of his parents were hazy, snatches of laughter, fleeting images of them whispering to him at night about stories he thought were just bedtime tales. "I always thought they abandoned me." "No," Arya said firmly. "They sacrificed everything to protect you. But now the seals are breaking. You're awakening, and the society will stop at nothing to claim you or destroy you." Jinwoo pressed his palms against his temples, trying to steady his racing mind. "Why me? Why not someone else?" Arya's gaze grew distant. "Because you're the last one, the last true Dreamweaver. The others, they've all been taken or broken." The weight of her words pressed down on him. Before he could respond, the great doors at the far end of the hall creaked open, revealing a figure cloaked in shadows and light. The figure's face was obscured beneath a hood, but its presence was undeniable. Ancient, powerful, and radiating a subtle, thrumming energy. Arya rose instantly, bowing her head. Master Thalos. Jinwoo scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding. The figure approached, its voice echoing through the vast chamber. So this is the boy upon whom the last threads of the world depend. Jinwoo's mouth was dry. Who are you? I am Thalos, keeper of the lost threads, the figure said. I have waited for you, Jinwoo Han. The tapestry of dreams is fraying, and only you can weave it anew. The dream-bound society has grown too strong, too bold. Their corruption seeps into the waking world. If they succeed, all of reality will become their prison. But you, the figure's hood tilted slightly, as if peering directly into Jinwoo's soul, you can stop them. I don't know how, Jinwoo whispered. Thalos' voice softened. You will, but time is short. The Society's agents are already hunting for you in both realms. They will not stop until you are theirs. Jinwoo felt a tremor beneath his feet, a subtle, almost imperceptible shiver, as though the world itself were warning him. Arya turned to him, her silver eyes gleaming. We have to move, Jinwoo. You need training. You need to learn how to weave before they find you. Where do we go? Jinwoo asked, dread and determination coiling in his chest. There's a hidden sanctum, Thalos said. A place where the last knowledge of the Dreamweavers is kept. But it's deep within the veins of Reverie, beyond the reach of the waking world. It won't be easy, and the journey will change you. Jinwoo swallowed hard. I'll do it. I don't think I have a choice anymore. Thalos extended a hand, from which a thin, glowing thread unspooled, silver shimmering, vibrating with hidden power. He handed it to Jinwoo. This thread is a key of memory, Thalos said. It will lead you to the sanctum, but beware. Others can follow its trail if you're not careful. Guard it well. Jinwoo clutched the thread tightly. It pulsed faintly in his grasp, warm against his skin. As the doors behind Thalos began to close, the Keeper spoke one last time. Remember, Jinwoo Han, the line between dreams and reality is thinner than you think, and some dreams should never be forgotten. With a deep breath, Jinwoo nodded. Arya placed a hand on his shoulder, her voice steady and determined. Let's go. Chapter 3, Whispers of the Veins. The air shimmered around them as Jinwoo and Arya stepped through a portal conjured by Thalos. It felt like walking through a veil of silk and frost, cool to the touch but tingling with hidden energy. On the other side, they emerged into a landscape Jinwoo couldn't have imagined in his wildest dreams. The veins of Reverie stretched before them, a labyrinth of colossal roots and veins made of crystal and light, weaving through an endless twilight sky. These veins pulsed with colors too vivid and strange to name, spiraling into the distance where stars and nebulas glimmered. Floating islands of rock and shattered ruins drifted through the air, defying gravity. Jinwoo's breath caught in his throat. This is beautiful and terrifying. Arya nodded grimly. This place was once the backbone of dreams. The veins carried the lifeblood of the collective subconscious, the threads that wove every imagination and hope into reality. But the society has corrupted parts of it. Some veins are poisoned now, twisted into nightmares that seep into both worlds. A distant pulse echoed through the air, like a heartbeat made of thunder. Jinwoo felt it resonate in his bones. We need to be quick, Arya said, drawing a slender blade from her side. There are things in these veins that are neither dreams nor reality, shards of forgotten hopes, broken ambitions, and lost souls. If we linger, they'll notice us. Jinwoo glanced down at the key of memory in his hand. The thread pulsed faintly, pointing toward a shimmering fissure far ahead where a root twisted like a spiral staircase. That way, he murmured. They began their trek, each step echoing softly on the crystalline surface of the veins. Jinwoo's mind spun with questions about his parents, the society, his powers. But he didn't voice them. Every breath he took felt like it was borrowed, every heartbeat a countdown. As they descended deeper, the landscape grew stranger. Faces flickered in the crystal walls, half-formed, like fragments of people Jinwoo almost recognized. Whispers curled around him, voices from dreams he'd long forgotten. Jinwoo, save us! He is coming! Beware the Unraveled One. Jinwoo shivered. Did you hear that? Arya's grip on her blade tightened. Ignore the whispers. They feed on your fear and doubt. The deeper we go, the louder they'll get. Focus on the thread. They pressed on, but the world around them became increasingly erratic. Cracks appeared in the crystalline veins, leaking a dark, viscous substance that hissed and writhed like living ink. The air grew colder, and shadows pooled in places where there should have been none. Suddenly, a ripple spread across the path ahead, and a creature emerged. A towering figure woven from broken threads and shards of glass, its face a mask of cracked porcelain with too many eyes. It loomed, blocking their path, its voice a chorus of distorted whispers. The dreambound calls. The weaver must be unmade. Jinwoo froze. Arya stepped in front of him, her blade igniting with a brilliant arc of light. Run, Jinwoo. Find the sanctum. I'll hold it off. No, he shouted. We can't leave each other. You're the key. Go. Arya's voice cracked with urgency. The key of memory pulsed wildly in Jinwoo's grasp, tugging him toward a fissure just beyond the creature. His instincts screamed at him to stay, to fight, but he knew deep down that Arya was right. With a strangled cry, Jinwoo dashed forward. The creature lunged, threads unraveling from its body, lashing toward him. Arya's blade met them mid-air, slicing through the tendrils with blinding arcs. Jinwoo ran. The fissure yawned before him like a maw of light. He leapt, the key of memory flaring in his hand, and was swallowed by the portal. The last thing he saw was Arya, standing defiant against the creature, her silhouette etched in light. He landed hard in a place unlike anything he'd seen before, a library that stretched into infinity. The walls were formed of shelves filled with books that glowed softly, each tome pulsing like a heartbeat. The floor was a mosaic of countless written languages, some shifting and rearranging as he stared. In the center of the library stood a massive loom, its threads shimmering with starlight. An ancient figure sat before it, weaving patterns that glowed and shifted. The figure looked up, their face hidden behind a mask of gold and glass. Their voice echoed through the vastness. Welcome, Jinwoo Han. You have found the sanctum of threads, but finding it was only the beginning. Now, you must learn to... Let's continue into Chapter 4, where the story deepens, secrets unfold, and Jinwoo's training begins in the Sanctum of Threads. Get ready for an expansive, rich continuation. Chapter 4, The Weaving of Secrets. The air of the Sanctum of Threads was thick with a quiet hum, the resonance of countless threads vibrating in harmony. Jinwoo felt as if he had stepped into a dream beyond dreams, where every breath stirred stories and every heartbeat echoed with forgotten voices. The masked figure before the loom did not speak immediately. Their fingers moved with impossible grace, weaving strands of light and shadow into complex patterns that shifted and rippled across the threads. Each movement was both a creation and a destruction, building a tapestry Jinwoo could not yet comprehend. Finally, the figure's voice echoed softly, like the rustle of pages. Sit, Jinwoo Han. Hesitantly, Jinwoo obeyed, sinking onto a cushion woven from threads of starlight. His legs trembled beneath him. His heart felt as though it might burst from the weight of everything. Arya's sacrifice, Thalos's warnings, the mysterious creature in the veins. The figure gestured, and one of the glowing books floated from the nearest shelf, opening before Jinwoo. The pages turned themselves, revealing swirling images and symbols. Do you know what this is? The figure asked. Jinwoo shook his head. This is your thread of lineage, the pattern your parents wove to protect you. The society thought they could erase it, but the core remains. It connects you to your past, your abilities, and your purpose. Jinwoo leaned forward, gazing into the book. Faint, flickering images appeared, his parents standing together, weaving threads of light around a cradle. Shadows crept in at the edges of the vision, but the light held firm. I never knew they were. Jinwoo's voice broke. They were the last of the true weavers, the figure said softly. When the Dreambound Society realized the power they held, they marked them for destruction. But before they were taken, your parents sealed fragments of their essence into you. That's why you are different. That's why the society fears you. Jinwoo clenched his fists. I'm not ready for this. I don't even know how to use my power. The figure's masked face turned toward him. That is why you are here, to learn. They extended a hand, and from the great loom, a single thread of light floated toward Jinwoo. It hovered before him, shimmering with potential. Take it, the figure instructed. Feel it. This is the thread of becoming. It connects you to the possibilities you can weave. Jinwoo reached out, hesitating for only a moment before his fingers brushed the thread. Instantly, his mind exploded with sensation. Memories not his own flooded through him, visions of his parents weaving light into barriers, summoning creatures from dreams, healing shattered minds. He felt the raw potential of dreams bending to will, the surge of creativity merging with the threads of reality. His hand trembled as he gripped the thread, anchoring it within himself. Good, the figure murmured, but be warned. Power without purpose is as dangerous as ignorance. You must learn to control it, or it will consume you. Jinwoo's vision cleared, and he realized he was breathing hard, sweat beading on his forehead. The figure stepped closer. You must master 3 core weaves: binding, shaping, and calling. Binding weaves stability into dreams, anchoring them. Shaping bends them to your will. Calling allows you to draw forth entities and ideas from the dreamscape into the waking world. A flick of the figure's wrist conjured 3 shimmering threads, one golden, one silver, one crimson. They wove themselves into intricate knots and patterns before his eyes, demonstrating each weave's unique nature. Practice is dangerous, the figure continued, but it is the only way forward. Your enemies will not wait for you to be ready. They hunt even now. Jinwoo's mind reeled. Arya? Is she? The figure's silence stretched like a shadow. Finally, they spoke. Arya is strong, but if you do not master the weaves, you will not be able to save her when the time comes. The weight of their words crushed the breath from his lungs. He stood, determination hardening in his chest. Then teach me. I'll do whatever it takes. The masked figure inclined their head. Very well, but remember this. Every thread you weave draws the attention of the Unraveled One. He is the harbinger of the society's final design, the one who consumes and corrupts. You must stay ahead of him, or everything will be lost. Jinwoo swallowed hard. I understand. Then begin, the figure said, gesturing toward the loom. Weave, Jinwoo-han. Weave and remember who you are. For hours, or perhaps days, time was a fluid thing in the sanctum. Jinwoo practiced. At first, his threads tangled, collapsing into chaotic snarls. But slowly, with guidance, he learned to stabilize them. He wove simple patterns of light, then more complex knots that pulsed with hidden power. His mind expanded, his perception stretching to touch the edges of dreams he never knew existed. But with every weave, he felt a presence watching, something vast and cold lurking beyond the edges of his awareness. The Unraveled One. And just as Jinwoo completed his first true weave, a deep tremor shuddered through the sanctum. The masked figure straightened sharply. They found us. Jinwoo's blood ran cold. The society? The figure nodded. Their agents are breaching the veins. We must leave. Jinwoo grabbed the key of memory, its pulse now frantic. The figure placed a hand on his shoulder. You are ready for the next step. Seek the Mirror of Origins. It lies in the hidden chamber beneath the Citadel of Fractured Dreams. There, you will find the truth about your parents and the weapon you need to fight back. The ground beneath them cracked, threads unraveling as shadows seeped in. Without another word, Jinwoo and the masked figure leapt through a portal of shimmering threads, into darkness, into danger. Let's continue the journey into Chapter 5, diving into the hidden Citadel of Fractured Dreams and revealing deeper secrets. This chapter will be packed with action, lore, and shocking twists. Get ready. Chapter 5, Citadel of Fractured Dreams. The portal spat Jinwoo and the masked figure into a desolate, twilight-hued wasteland. Jagged towers loomed against the sky, their twisted spires silhouetted against the crimson glow of fractured moons. The air crackled with static energy, and fragments of broken dreams floated like ash. Jinwoo stumbled, but caught himself. Where are we? The masked figure's voice was taut with urgency. We stand at the threshold of the Citadel of Fractured Dreams. This was once a bastion of the old Dreamweaver, a place of wisdom and sanctuary. Now it is a labyrinth of broken truths, shattered hopes, and lurking dangers. They pressed forward, navigating crumbling pathways where each step sent ripples through the fractured ground. As they descended into the heart of the Citadel, Jinwoo noticed glyphs and symbols carved into the walls, some familiar from his training, others alien and indecipherable. Why would my parents hide the Mirror of Origins here? Jinwoo asked. The figure hesitated. Because the mirror reveals not just the truth, it unveils the weaver's deepest thread. Your parents sought to protect you from both the society and yourself. Some truths are dangerous to know. They reached a massive archway, guarded by a stone door veined with pulsing crimson light. The masked figure traced a pattern into the door, causing it to shudder and open with a groan. Inside lay a cavernous chamber, its floor inlaid with mirrors that reflected not only the physical, but fragments of memory and possibility. At the center stood a towering mirror, its frame made of intertwined branches and threads of purest silver, glowing faintly. "The Mirror of Origins," the figure whispered. Jinwoo approached, the key of memory throbbing in his hand. His reflection shimmered, not just his face, but multiple versions of himself, fractured and recombining. Shadows of choices he hadn't made, futures that hadn't come to pass. As he gazed deeper, the mirror rippled, and a figure stepped through. It was Arya, but not as he remembered her. Her hair was streaked with silver, her eyes glowing with threads of power. She wore armor made of woven light, and her expression was grim. "Jinwoo," she said, her voice echoing with layered harmonies. "You're walking straight into their trap." Jinwoo's heart twisted. "Arya? How?" "I don't have much time," she said urgently. "This place is a beacon. The society knew you'd come here. They're already breaching the lower levels. The Unraveled One's agents are with them. If you don't escape now, you'll be caught." The masked figure tensed. "We can't leave without the mirror." Arya's projection cut her off. "The mirror's power isn't confined to this chamber. It's in you, Jinwoo. The key was never meant to unlock the mirror. It was meant to unlock you. You are the living thread they couldn't sever." A deep rumble shook the chamber. Cracks spiderwebbed across the mirrors. And from the shadows emerged 3 agents of the society. Cloaked figures whose faces were hidden by masks of twisted bone and obsidian. Each radiated a terrifying presence, their threads seething with corrupted power. The lead agent raised a hand, summoning a lance of blackened light. "Hand over the Weaver's key, boy," they hissed, "or we'll unmake you." Jinwoo's pulse surged. Arya's projection locked eyes with him. "You have the power to resist. Remember the weaves I showed you, binding, shaping, and calling. Trust your instincts." The masked figure stepped forward, unsheathing twin daggers woven from raw thread. "I'll hold them. Go, Jinwoo. Find the Heartloom at the Citadel's core. It's your true inheritance." "No," Jinwoo said, gripping the key tighter. "I'm done running." The lead agent sneered. "Then you die with her." Jinwoo took a deep breath, feeling the weaves pulse through him. He extended his hand, and threads of light unfurled like wings from his fingertips. He wove a binding weave, anchoring the reality of the chamber to his will. The ground solidified, forcing the agents to slow their advance. With a flick, he wove a shaping weave, bending the fragments of shattered dreams into a barrier of mirrors that reflected their attacks. The corrupted lances shattered harmlessly against the wall of refracted light. The agents roared, pushing forward, but Jinwoo wasn't finished. He closed his eyes, reaching into the deeper dreamscape, and wove a calling weave. Threads twisted and knotted into a shape that emerged from the air, a guardian made of starlight and shadow, a creature woven from his memories of his parents' protection. The guardian struck, sending 2 of the agents sprawling. The masked figure engaged the third, blades flashing. Jinwoo turned to Arya's projection. "I'll find the Heartloom. I'll finish what they started." Arya's image smiled faintly, her light flickering. "I'll hold them back as long as I can. But remember, the Unraveled One watches. Be swift, Jinwoo." With a final nod, Jinwoo sprinted deeper into the Citadel, the key of memory guiding him through a maze of shifting corridors. Each step brought him closer to the core of the mystery, the Heartloom, the weapon, the truth of his origins. But even as he ran, a whisper curled around him, a voice cold and ancient. "You cannot escape me, little weaver. All threads return to the Unraveled One." Jinwoo's breath hitched, but he didn't stop, because he finally understood. He wasn't just running to save himself.
No game.
You have slain an enemy. Ally has slain an enemy. Ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
In diversity.
Killing spree.
I am
Slain an enemy.
Legends never
an enemy.
surrender.
Double kill. Mega kill.
Muscle of iron, bones of steel.
Unstoppable. Monster kill.
We are unity.
Godlike.
All
Legendary. Legendary. Shut down. You have slain an enemy.
We are unity in diversity.